So they provided £40,000 for a developer. So there was a developer who was actually trying to look for funding. So they were developing in somewhere in Lekki, and they were looking for funding. And so we said, oh, if you make your building green, you could actually get funding at a cheaper rate than you would normally have gotten if you can demonstrate that your building has green credentials, like you said. Oh, they said, oh, really? So the man said, okay, I'm looking for money, whichever, just, okay. So we worked with them to, of course, prepare the material. So the first thing we did, which is also very important, and which is why I want to be as practical as possible, is the good thing is this developer has already built some houses. So the first thing we did was to establish a baseline, because you need to measure. How do you prove that something is green if you cannot measure? And this is one point that is very, very critical that we need to incorporate in all of these exercises that we're doing. I'm not trying to downplay. I'm a edge certified professional, so I know, but it costs money. So if you are looking for reducing the cost of building, which is another, like you said, in the Ministry of Building, we want to reduce the cost of building. So we didn't use Edge or Brian, so that was why we went for a startup. Calculating the cost of calculation was drastically lower than if you are doing. It was verified by the UK government, and they were happy. They said, okay, this is the baseline. We want you to build a building now that will give you 40% versus the baseline. So again, it comes about the definition I talked about earlier and the clarity. So before we even started building, we knew what the objective was very clear. We knew what we wanted to achieve. So we have to look for materials that can give us that reduction. And this is where Lafarge came in. So Lafarge today, I don't know if many of you are aware, Lafarge launched last year the first low carbon cement in Nigeria. It gives you a minimum of 30% CO2 reduction every cement you see in the market. And the calculation methodology followed what we call the EPD methodology. So environmental product declaration. So scope 1, scope 2, and scope for sustainability to aggregate. Already the distant your scope 3 just destroys everything. So locally sourced material, good quality, that can be sourced as closer to you as possible is very, very important. So this is why Lafarge launched EcoPlanet brand with calcite clay, which is sourced locally. And this was what was used for this project. That's number one. Then the role of architects, very important, because we have to do a lot of passive design. There's a way you position your house that will even make the energy consumption to be less. Those simple things that you need to do. So we needed to bring that in. We use we use some insulation material. The way this insulation material, and I'm happy to, this is not what we want to do. This is what we actually completed it 2 months ago. I'm happy to take you there. The building is there. It's in Abraham Adesoya, and like he's there today, standing completed. So we use some insulation material, and the way insulation material works is very interesting. It works like in a reverse proportion. So if it's very hot on the outside, it cools down the inside. Depending on how you use it and the recipe, it could get up to 10%. So what it means is if it's 30% on the outside, inside your room could be 20 degrees, sorry. Then it also works in the reverse as well. If it's too cold, of course, not too cold here, but it could also work in the reverse. So we use that, then of course, we now top it up with solar. To also reduce, because we also talk about energy efficiency, all of it. So we did all of that. Then we brought back the startup to come and now measure the carbon footprint of the whole building. At the end of the day, we were able to deliver 42%. Sorry? No, 42% versus the traditional one. Yes, 40 was the objective. So we got 42% at the end of the day. So what am I saying? I'm using this example because this will actually serve, especially Tango, you are sitting very close to me. I'm sure we should have a discussion because this concept can now be replicated. It's very clear. One of the biggest challenges we have today is, if you go to any bank in Nigeria and want to go and take a loan to build a house, good luck with that. If you know somebody in the bank, maybe you get 25%, or and that's why I think you know somebody. I think 30 is the blank one, but you know there are some banks relationship you could get 25, which I mean that's we know how. So we need a single digit. If you don't have a single digit rate, forget about it. It's not going to scale. And this somebody talked about, I think, okay, the senior assistant, he talked about incentives. And this is where I think we can come in. We can say, for us to fund a house and give you, we will incentivize you by giving you a single, I don't know where you source your money, but I believe you have big pockets. We can give you a single digit rate if you meet tools, technology, I can make proposal and reference if you want. To say on the average, these are the emissions for this type of building. For a 1-bed, bungalow, 2-bed, it's easy, can be done. If you want to assess mortgage for a green building house, it should give us 30%. We don't have to start with 40. We can start gradually and natural behavior. Then you do a baseline, a before and a after. So once you deploy the money in tranches, and at the end of the day, the building meets that, then we can scale up quickly. So this is how we can scale. I'm just giving you a practical example of how this can work, because honestly, it can work without, it's good to copy paste. There's a lot of, most of this example that has been done everywhere. My perception is always that you copy and paste special. You don't just copy and come and paste. Sometimes those things does not work the way they work there like this. We need to make adaptation because of who we are, the way we want our things, the way things are, the temperature we have, the nature and the materials we have. And this is where I believe the innovation from Lafarge, the innovation from some of these startups to measure according to our environment comes in. And funding cannot come. When people talk about funding, if it makes business sense, funders will come because they also want to make money. They are not charity organizations, but it has to make business sense. It has to be clear, it has to be measurable, and it has to be transparent and verifiable. I think once you meet all of those criteria, you can put more money. And I'm using this opportunity to openly say to the state government, if you want us to build a demo house, I'm happy to facilitate that too, so that Lagos, I believe that when the government also have a show and tell, this can also help move the conversation quickly. And my last point is, in the whole of this, when we are doing this, sorry sir, we didn't include academia and the one, but going forward, I promise that we will do more with the academia, because I think it's a good place where some of these experiences, where you share and you set those concepts on how it can be done, I think it can also reach a wider target very quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful, it's like one day lecture cramped up to a few minutes speech. Lagos State government will really be looking forward to collaborate with you on a demonstration project. I'm sure of that, and we'll take that back with us. So, not the least, and definitely not the last, Dr. Latunji from UNILAG, the best university in Nigeria, after Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where I finished from. So, the backbone of every innovation is scientific research, and that is the house of our university. So, sir.
Sorry. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here in this particular forum. I will just highlight some of the things we are doing in the aspect of green in UNILAG, so that we can see that how these things is possible, and that can also metamorphose to collaborations that is going to give us the desired results. Well, as an academic institution, our curriculum is key, because we teach people, we build capacity. And so what we are doing right now is to kind of amend our curriculum to bring in some green building courses and topics. not just at the final level, even from the entry level, 100 level to final year. By the time you are going to the postgraduate, it's more of specialized courses now. So we are bringing in those things, and then the result is quite interesting. Now, people know what green building is all about. We are talking about green construction, sustainable construction, and all of that. So that is one area. And then the second aspect where we are working is we are trying to unbundle some of our programs. For instance, lately, architecture that used to be a department in the Faculty of Environmental Sciences is not a faculty on its own. And that's because we realize that that particular profession has a lot, and it can be unbundled. And one of the advantages of unbundling is that it gives room for specificity. You can specialize. Now you are talking about green architecture, talking about landscape architecture. Of course, it's going to give us better results. And just to let you know that it's not just architecture. Architecture is just, let me say, taking the lead in that aspect. Other professions, other programs, so they are beginning to see the advantage of that. And I can tell you, though this is not in the open yet, almost all of them, they are trying to unbundle now. And from building, building has about not less than 6 or 7 areas. You have a construction tech, construction management, building services, building structure, building maintenance, all of that. And all this is being put in one, even material is there. So that unbundling, I can tell you, is ongoing. That's the second thing we are doing. Then another area is projects. We are engaging on green-focused projects. For instance, renewable energy projects. Energy has to do with generate, you transmit, and you use. But there are buildings now, especially using the building facade. There are a lot of building facade that can actually generate energy, and it can make building to be energy sufficient. So we are working on that, and then we are also working on low carbon materials. I'm glad you spoke about cement. One of the materials that really need to be replaced, and I mean that in construction, I doubt if we have a perfect substitute for it, is cement. Now, there are a lot of materials that we have, locally sourced material, that at least they can be good partial replacement for cement. One of them is sugarcane bagasse. We've done that, we've done bamboo, we've done all of that. They are partial replacement for cement, some of them up to 30%, and that can bring down the cost. I agree that they may not be able to be useful in some of our real structural components, but as on lightweight concrete, where all these materials can be used. We've used periwinkle shell. We've done researches on that to replace granite, palm kernel shell. We've done that to replace a decent granite, and it worked perfect because we don't just do those experiments, we subject them to test and compare them with the standard. And then that's why we're able to know that this one cannot really be a full replacement for cement, but it saves some cost. So those are in that area, we are working on that. And like I said earlier, right now in my faculty, particularly in the area of glass, we are working on glass. Glass is one material that we have not really, maybe we have not really understand the energy potential that is in glass. Most of our facade that we use blocks and bricks and all of that, if you use glass for that, it can generate electricity, current energy for you, and then in the night it can be used, and then you reduce energy consumption and that. So that's number 3. And then number 4, we're also looking at research-focused green focused researches. Now, most of the time that students go into researches, they just do it all because they want to have their certificates and they want to graduate. But there's a paradigm shift. It must be problem focused. And we are talking about green. And that's the aspect where I want the industry to come in. When you have a problem in the industry that we are talking about now, about green, you can approach us, okay? Bring up these topics and then give us solution. And you go into researches and the solution is going to be, we bring out the solution and then that can be integrated into their society. So that is in that aspect. And also, we are also looking at coming up with centers, green focus centers. Now, although this has not really been, brought out very well, but I can talk about housing center. We have housing center in UNILAG today. It's a directorate on its own, and it's going to be looking at some of this area. We can also have that for green. So these are the areas that we are actually working on, and what we are doing in UNILAG to enhance or to amplify the campaign about green building or green research. Now, going forward, what do we need to do? Number one, we need to partner with the industry. There's something called turn and gown that we do right now. That is by some of our researches are just in the shelf. Some of the materials we are talking about, they're in the laboratory. We've discovered them, but they are not in the market. So by the time we bring in the industry, and then this can now be transported into the industry. Then number two, we need, and I'm talking to the green building, what is green in Lagos could be blue in Osun. And I also look at it, if I'm teaching green construction materials in UNILAG, is it the same thing they are teaching in Adamawa State University? You need to partner. Some of these things we are discussing should come into the curriculum, and not just for UNILAG alone, not for UNIPEN, and the only body that can do that is to partner with this accreditation body, NUC particularly, because they are in charge. Right now, we've had series of different type of curriculum. We were using BMAS, now they are bringing in CCMAS, all of that. Do we have some of these green topic, green courses in them? So we need to partner with them, and it's going to help. That's number one. Then number two, we are talking about grants. Grant is very important so that we can advance research. And I want to re-emphasize this. I've mentioned it is the third one, and that is coming, aligning with all these institutions. You have a problem in the industry, let's bring it up, and then we can make it a subject of research, and you are going to deliver. We must deliver. There must be a result that is going to be tested, and then we will see that this can be done. And of course, if it cannot be done, we know it can be done. Research has a way of evolving. You cannot finish a whole thing. Somebody can sponsor and then another person will pick it up there. And I tell you, even if you go into a research, you didn't get your desired result, you have learned one way not to do it. I learned that the man that invented this bulb tried it 1,000 times. It's because I used to say that maybe it's because it's not in Nigeria. Because by the time it's get to the 100th time, somebody are complaining, what is your problem? Is this the only thing you can do? 1,000 times. And eventually he got it. So let's do this. This partnership is very important, and I believe that we have come to the green aspect. God bless you.
Thank you very much. So that was really very thought-provoking. And education is, like I always say, is the key. When you were mentioning alternatives to aggregates, you mentioned periwinkle. My mind just did papa. I think I got.
And those things, they are nuisance in our environment.
Yeah.
If you go to the region where they use it, after they remove the soft thing inside that they eat, the rest is just a nuisance. Keep smelling and all of that, and this can be useful. Even biogas, we're also working on biogas. So even human waste, although human fecal waste has no potential to generate biogas. Yeah. But I keep saying that no matter how small it is, it's solving at least one problem. The menace in the environment is solving it. Most of the things that, I don't know whether it's Norman that does that, or this truck that evacuates safety tank and all of that. I wonder where they throw them. Wastewater. I wonder where they throw them. Some of these things can be converted into wealth. Let me just stop here.
Thank you so much, sir. One area I think we can really benefit, another area we can benefit from the academia, schools like University of Lagos or any other institution in major cities can also, especially within the scenario of the public service, there are several courses, from time to time. I read somewhere recently about World Bank partnership with through IFC on sustainable procurement, which is a very key area of sustainability within the public service, and they are partnering with academic institutions. So certain slots can be given to public service to train people. And when you hear about capacity building, there's always like, cost and all of that. We could take the model of train the trainer, I'm afraid that we don't jackpot because a lot of people train and they jackpot. We can't stop that, but
it's still going on.
yes.
But one thing is all of us cannot jackpot.
We can't.
Some people are even jackpot.
Home is best. Yeah, jackpot. Thank you very much, sir. Please let's put our hands together for all of our panelists. That has been very thought-provoking. Thank you so much. Really, I think we are moving on to another session where we have opportunity for more interactive thoughts and questions. Thank you very much. I'm Anna Obadino. God bless you. Mr. President.
Oh, why not? You get it.
Okay. One more.
Sorry, let me just add this. If you have a concept that you want to research on, maybe a problem, I'm available. We have a lot of students, I'm talking about even at PG level, that are ready to take up these topics and they will bring us solutions. Thank you. You can contact me.
Okay, so we'll be opening the floor very shortly for us to, can we put the projector back on? If you don't mind. Opening the floor we're going into an interactive session, kind of just reflections on our priorities, you can see our barriers and next steps. But we thought to make it a bit more engaging by asking a few questions, then open the floor for discussion. So we'll go back to, this thing is still not up. It's coming up. This is technology from my youth. I thought Radisson would have gone beyond this. So, well, they tend to be they are more reliable, they say the old is better, as some of us say. So we've heard about the action plan, 12 months of work collaborating with a multitude of stakeholders. We actually, when we did a bit of analysis, we actually talked to or engaged with about 250 different individuals over the course of 12 months that attended our workshops, responded to our surveys, We actually also went out into the states, 15 states, to collect information and data. And about 140 plus different organizations spread across academia, government, industry, finance, civil society. So it was a very broad exercise. And we do recognize the role of civil society and academia in advancing this argument. That is why, not in this version, but in later versions of this, we have actually added, it was actually the World GBC that gave 3, and 3 is actually easier. That's policy, finance, industry. But as we all know, a stool with 4 legs is more stable than one. It's more stable than one with so we added a 4th, civil society and academia. This thing is refusing to work. So anyway, we're moving to the workshop, interactive session. For those who are a bit old like me, let me just share a quick trick. Okay, please scan the QR code on your phone and help us answer this question. Which 2 areas should states focus on? Let's say in the next 2 years, some of you may be wondering why 2 years, and some of you may have figured it out already. We are by nature, I see me like auntie laughing there, so let me just be silent. In the next 2 years, okay, let me tell you why. Within the scope of the current political class, administrations, what can we do? Okay? Because we all know one of the challenges we face is continuity. So that's a problem for another day. Let's look at the opportunity we have in the next 2 years. What can we do? Okay? Let me share, we have 8 strategic objectives in the action plan. Sometimes it's difficult for me to remember them all. Like I said, yes, I'm going old, I confess. But I came up with a short trick, what we used to do in school, okay? Codes and cities, okay? Cities must start doing practical climate equity steps. Cities must start doing practical climate equity steps. Codes, money, skills, data, pilots, collaboration, equity, health and nature, and states. So that way I can remember. So that's what we're looking at here. So what do we think we should prioritize? I hope, I was afraid it was going to be money, but did I hope I didn't bias anybody? Money has gone up, okay, costs have gone up a bit. So train people seems to be the winner, and build data systems. So now this is interactive. Who thinks that that should be one of the priorities in the next 2 years? And of course, strengthen codes and standards. Who would like to tell us why they think that should be a priority?
Sorry, what should be a priority?
Train people is the winner.
Oh, I see.
Okay. All right.
So I'm wondering why that is the winner. Thank you.
All right. The reason why training people and building pilot projects is so important is because you cannot really put anything in place without the people. So even if you have the best policy and people are not really trained on how they're going to implement these policies, at the end of the day, it's going to fail. So one of the starting points should be to train